Have a look at that. We're not just cooking a meatloaf today. We are smoking a Mexican fiesta loaf. This thing's got cheddar bombs, taco seasoning, crushed corn chips, and an avocado sauce that is so smooth, it should be illegal. This is a meatloaf that left boring midweek dinners in the dust and shouted, "Viva la flavor!" Strap in, this is a good one. We need to start with some glue. Not real glue, you bloody idiot. Just this shit, put it in a bowl. Into a bowl, you want to dump 2 eggs, a 1/4 cup of milk. Milk generally comes from a cow, not an almond. And 1/2 cup of panko crumbs. Yes, it needs to be panko crumbs. Mix this up and we're going to let it sit for 5 minutes. Trust me, this one little step helps keep your meatloaf moist and fluffy. No, but did I really need to leave it for 5 minutes? Yes, you do. That's the recipe. Just follow the recipe and it'll all work out. Don't get me in the comments next week going, "Oh, I tried your recipe. Oh, I didn't let it soak for 5 minutes and it didn't work out. What could I have done wrong?" Not listen. Without this step, your meatloaf is as moist as a pub with no beer. Now, science calls this hydration. I call it not serving up shoe leather. It's time to build this Mexican monster. Throw in your kilo of mince. For the Americans watching that can't look stuff up, 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds and minced meat is ground beef. Pretty simple, really. A finely chopped brown onion, 1/2 cup of capsicum, any colour will do, and 2 packets of taco seasoning. These are rated 500 grams per packet. And 500 grams of pre-diced cheese. You heard me, barbecue cubes, because, well, we're efficient. Now I'm going to get a few people saying that this cheese is tasty cheese. Well, Australia calls our cheddar tasty. Matured slightly different, and we don't put a bucket load of paprika in it, turning it orange. And finish with 1/2 cup of crushed corn chips. Any corn chip will do. I have no affiliation with anyone whatsoever. Oh, and don't forget that panko crumb slurry that we made earlier to keep it nice. Now this is the part of your dream that I recommend that you glove up. And this is a part of your essential viewing that you realise you need a bigger bowl and better aim. Now you want to combine all of the ingredients. You do not want to mash it into oblivion though. We're making a meatloaf, not baby food. And you want a piece of baking paper. Ta-da! There's a piece I made earlier. Add the meatloaf mixture. Now shape this into a nice log shape, not too tight. We're not making sausages here. These little cheesy bombs are gonna go pfft. And then this just goes on a wire rack. Ta-da! Today I'm using a 57 centimetre Weber Kettle. 57 centimetres is 22 inches. Actually, it's 22.5 inches. I was just trying to bring it down smaller. And I'm pairing it up with some Heat Beads original briquettes. If you don't like using briquettes, don't use them. I'm doing the snake method, so I need to use them. And I like Heat Beads. They don't give off an awful flavour or taste to my food because there's no harsh additives in the briquettes. Simple. If yours stink, go to a different brand. Because I want to be smoking at temps around 120 degrees today, and I'll do that by utilising the snake method. Don't forget to carefully put your grill back in. And I'm using cherry wood for today's cook. Pop your lid on, make sure all the vents are wide open. Keep an eye on the temp, and as we get to about 30 degrees Celsius off our target temp, we want to close down that bowl vent pretty much to about a quarter open. The snake method is when cavemen discover time management. Heat beads are like your dependable mate, and the cherry wood, well, that's like giving your meat a kiss with a tree. And it's finally time to get the meatloaf in and start smoking it. All right, now we are gonna smoke this meatloaf for around 3 hours at 120 degrees Celsius. Or for those of you who love to follow my beer timer, you're looking at a 6-beer cook. Have you ever made avocado crema? Into a blender goes 1 ripe avocado and 150 ml of sour cream, 2 tablespoons of lime juice, 1/4 cup of coriander leaves. Now, if you don't like coriander, don't use it, okay? We just don't need to hear about it in the comments of, 1 clove of garlic that's already minced, 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, 1/4 teaspoon of salt flakes, and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Now we're just going to hit blend until it's smoother than your Uncle Kev on karaoke night. I like to give the blender a scrape down the sides with a spatula just to make sure we are blending everything. And buzz that again. And then I just like to transfer that to a squeezy bottle to use later. Avocado crema, invented by angels, mixed by legends. And yes, coriander is mandatory, unless you don't like it. Then use basil or mint or whatever you want. Lawn clippings, I don't care. Oh, look at that. We're a couple of hours in. The colour's looking great. Temp's not there yet, but we do have a lot of oil and I don't want that spilling everywhere, so let's fix that. Using my heat-proof gloves, let's get it out of the grill and we're going to carefully slide this over to some flexible metal. And we just want to roll up this foil. And this process is called boating. Anything you do low and slow, you can make a foil boat, just so you don't lose all of your juices. And then that can just go back on the tray. And that goes back into the Weber. And pop the lid back on, keeping that lid vent over our food. That way you're drawing the heat and the smoke over it. You would have also noticed that I had a probe attached to the grill because that's where I like to measure my internal temp of my barbecue from, that grill surface, because that's where my food is. Look, I don't want to brag, but I just heated up 1 cup of salsa and 2 tablespoons of honey. Yep, all on my own. When your meatloaf hits 70 degrees internally, we're going to brush over that warm salsa. Now, it doesn't matter if it's mild or if it's hot enough to turn your soul inside out. The fact is, you just go with your gut and what you like, and we're going to let that tack up for about 5 minutes. And obviously putting the lid on. Look at that. Now I've got a 250 gram bag of Mexican blend cheese, and I'm just going to pack on as much as I want. And then we're just going to let it melt. And lid on. This is where we cross the line from meatloaf to dangerous levels of deliciousness. And once the loaf reaches 74 degrees internally, you're good to go and you can get it off the grill. Did you see that? Melty cheese, smoky bark, cheesy salsa topping. This isn't dinner. This is art with a heartbeat. Now this can only get better with some avocado crema and some finely chopped parsley to add to the amazing flavour profile. Have a look at that. I mean, look at that. It's thick, juicy and moist. Smut! 74 degrees Celsius internally just means it's scientifically safe to eat. But that avocado crema drizzle at the end, that was emotionally healing for me. I think we've reached peak meatloaf status. Now, if you reckon meatloaf should be illegal unless it's smoked and stuffed like this one, then hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and go over and check out Schueys BBQ on Facebook.